Welcome everybody to the Holiday Unwrapped webinar series. This is session 3 about getting your site up to speed. We're really appreciative that you all are able to join us today. We have aligned a bunch of really great brands and technology and agency partners to bring the latest and greatest insights into how to really set yourself apart, considering just how crazy this holiday season is going to be. So just for the quick housekeeping stuff, I am Jeremy Horowitz. I work on the partnerships team here at Daasity. I will be your host and moderator for today's panel. If you have any questions or anything comes up, please let me know. Just some quick housekeeping. Everyone will be muted in the beginning. So if you have any questions, any issues, anything that pops up, please just go into the chat in the Q&A module. Sarah and Nikki from my team will be able to assist you with anything and route the questions to us. And then if there is a specific Q&A that you want addressed, we'll have that for the last 10 to 15 minutes of today's session. So please just drop that in there and then we will get to those throughout the presentation. And also just so that you're aware, we're going to be recording this session. So we'll be sharing it out afterwards as well. So the reason why everybody came today, our amazing panel. So I want to give a quick opportunity for everyone to introduce themselves. So we're just going to go round robin and give a quick brief and overview on what we do and our business. So Ryan, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, Jeremy. I'm Ryan Pamplin, CEO of BlendJet. We're the creators of the portable blender. We have 1 million customers in 195 countries. We're the biggest blender brand now on social media. And e-commerce is our main channel, direct to consumer. So we certainly have a lot of thoughts on what Q4 is going to be like and how to make the best of it.
Awesome. Really exciting. Mariel, how about yourself?
Hey, Jeremy, thanks a lot. I'm Mariel. I'm the Director of Marketing at Livelyroot, where we ship fresh plants to you. I'm basically responsible for introducing our target audience to the joy and benefits of green spaces, and then getting them to stick to our brand in the long term. My background is in conversion rate optimization and customer retention.
Cool. Mike, how about yourself?
You bet. I'm Mike Dempsey, working at Drip Drop. We are a patented oral rehydration solution. It's essentially an electrolyte powder. We sell direct to consumers through e-commerce and in-store.
Cool. Scott, what are you all working on over at AOA?
Hey, so I'm Scott Knight, CEO at AOA. AOA is a full-service e-commerce agency. We specialize in high-performance websites. We're a Shopify Plus partner, and super happy to be here.
Cool. Steph, how about you?
Hey guys, happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I work at Justuno, and I work with clients for their websites, on their pop-ups, and making sure that a strategy is set up behind everything that we have going live. And yeah, just working with them based on what they're doing offsite as well.
Great. Val, why don't you give a quick pitch on what Daasity does?
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm Val. I'm head of customer success for Daasity. So we are all about helping merchants like you guys get the most out of your data. There's so much out there and there's so many insights hiding in it. So helping to make it easier. And so I'm excited to be here. Before I joined the awesome team at Daasity, I was on the merchant side. So I've been through those holiday rushes as well. So happy to give kind of insights from both sides.
Awesome. So let's jump right into it. I think the first big question is how to deal with the insight, just the spike in site performance that we're going to see. So Mariel, how are you all thinking about really handling conversion as traffic scales up?
Yeah, we take a really simplified approach to the holiday. We try and keep everything on our site really simple, including our Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. We try not to do anything complicated. We're basically leaving all the 12 days of Christmas sales to our competitors. When you get to our site, you're going to know what's going on, what value you're going to get from shopping from us, and it's going to be a really easy experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, simple always wins. Mike, what are you all working on at Drip Drop?
You bet. So very similar. We're trying to take a streamlined approach, paying a lot of attention to site speed as it relates to conversion. Work with some really great brands out there and partners that help us to really make sure that we're optimizing for those conversions.
Very cool. Yeah, every conversion counts during this time of year. Steph, what are you seeing across all the brands that you're working at Justuno?
Yeah, a trend that I see is kind of what you guys have mentioned, really sticking to being more simple, maybe having a couple sales, and just depending on how you're presenting that already on the homepage, that kind of leads into how we present the sale later on, whether it be an exit offer or just in a banner, perhaps.
Very cool. Scott, drop some knowledge on us.
Yeah. Obviously, very focused on performance, as Mike had mentioned as well. I think it's, 1 second equates to 10%, 1 second in latency equates to 10% in lost revenue. So performance is really key for us as an agency. With Shopify, there's still like a lot you can do. It's hosted by Shopify, so you don't really have access to the server, but there's a lot you can do on the client side. So things like optimizing images, lazy loading images below the fold, asynchronously loading JavaScript, making sure that you're not using JavaScript, or that you're not loading JavaScript that you're not using, same with CSS. For our headless builds, it's a little bit different. You still have everything that applies for Shopify, but there's things that you can do, say, move things from client side to server side, so that every page request, you're doing that in advance, and so you're not doing that on every page hit. There's things like code splitting, so if you have content as a section of your site, you're not loading in that JavaScript and that CSS everywhere on the site, but it's just specific to that blog content. And also prefetching. So a user comes to the site, I might be able to anticipate what their next course of action is, so I can prefetch that in the background. They take that action, and we don't have to then wait for a call. It's already there. So really just making sure that performance is optimized, really converts based on performance. So
yeah, definitely. Every second counts. So
yeah.
Ryan, how are you all preparing over at BlendJet?
Well, it's going to be, I think, the biggest holiday season ever for all of us in e-commerce. Brick and mortar, is great for us too, but a lot of brick and mortar is not open. So I think we're going to see a huge influx of traffic. We're actually moving to a headless build, launching a brand new site right before the holidays, which is just in time. It's actually being built by Scott, designed by Pattern, absolutely stunning, takes the brand to the next level, along with the next gen product that's also coming out. So October 26th is the big day. We're expecting sub 2 second load time, and then sub 100 millisecond page transition time. So really, really fast user experience. We still have a Shopify backend, but the whole front end is headless, which basically means it's being delivered from a CDN as a flat file, which means it's really fast. And once you load it one time, every subsequent page load, every time you come back to the site, it's going to be really, really fast. And I know from a lot of split testing, I'm a big optimization guy. Nothing moves the needle more on conversion rate than making that site faster. And of course, there's lots of great on-site things we can do with content too. But at this point, we've done everything we can with that. And it's really coming down to maximizing that speed. I think there was a study that just came out recently from, I believe it was Microsoft research, that said that the average attention span from 2008 to 2018 went from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. I mean, that's crazy, right? TikTok and all these things are training people to have a shorter attention span. And that means less tolerance for people waiting around for your website to load.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that I have a really bad tendency of just like flying through websites as quickly as possible. So Val, what are we kind of seeing across brands, and how can they be thinking about increasing conversion with the big traffic spikes that they're going to be seeing?
I think planning ahead. And so for those who have gone through holidays before, you have a wealth of data already that you could be looking at for what products converted the best, were there certain promotions that seem to convert better than others. And so you can use that to sort of weed out and get the best of the best plan for this holiday. And if this is your first holiday, plan a few different offers, test a few different things out to see what kind of information you can gather from that. And the other thing I would say is have a plan B and a plan C. If you plan now for, you might run out of a product, you might, see something else in market that someone else is doing and want to react, having a couple backup plans now will save you a lot of stress on November 20 whatever day Black Friday and Cyber Monday is.
Yeah, definitely. Plan Bs and Plan Cs are always a good plan to have. So I want to jump into kind of sticking with conversion and just diving a little bit deeper in of favorite apps. Like, what is something that you're really excited about deploying to really help conversion this year? So Ryan, is there anything I know you talked about the PWA. Is there anything you're rolling out at BlendJet that you're really excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. We have been partners of Facebook's Messenger platform for a long time, and we use Recart to implement that through Shopify. It's a really easy app to implement. It adds the little Facebook icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your website. Works on mobile, works on desktop, and it allows users to engage with you directly and ask questions directly. And with Recart, you can actually set up really smart sort of answers to a lot of common questions, and even give users an option for these little sort of pre-filled answers or questions. So they click on one of those and, how much is it? How long does it take to ship? That cuts down on a lot of ticket volume, and it dramatically increases conversion volume. We've made in the last 12 months 7 figures of additional revenue as a result of messenger marketing. And that's not even including the on-site increase to conversion rate, which is a double-digit increase in conversion rate by having it versus not having it. And then if they leave the site, we can continue to message them for free for the first 24 hours and pay for sponsored messages after that. And the typical return on investment of those messages is in excess of 4x. So very, very substantial channel that I see some people use really well and a lot of people not use at all. But if you just install Recart before the holidays, you're going to make some extra money.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of really impressive stats in there. And it's an interesting concept, like proactive customer support turning into sales. So Steph, what are your favorite apps and what are you thinking for on-site conversion this year?
Yeah, I'll kind of, I guess, segment it into categories. Do with customers or clients use Recart, so I'm so glad that you mentioned that. So yeah, anything when visiting your site or easier to communicate again with them. And a few other apps would be anything that could provide a pop-up or certain kind of messaging. With just it doesn't always have to be an offer in that way, but we can use in-page promotions to maybe present a survey or gather more information on why they're visiting. So it doesn't always have to be so invasive in that way. We can do a lot with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to communicate and a lot of different experiences. So a lot of opportunities there. Scott, I know you're combining a lot of different tools and experiences together. What are you guys most excited about this year?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'd say just but I'd be preaching to the choir here. So I think on the performance side, I'm just kind of like keeping with that theme. Nacelle, I don't think there's anything that comes anywhere close to Nacelle. For those that aren't familiar with Nacelle, it's a platform that lives on top of Shopify that really powers your progressive web app. So progressive web apps are fast in nature, and Nacelle just amplifies that, but then also makes it possible with Shopify because they have rate limits. So if you're going to go the progressive web app routes, definitely go the Nacelle route. For those that aren't on Shopify, aren't a progressive web app, I'd probably say I'm most excited about Malomo. So if shipping and fulfillment is ever an issue, I guess kind of rewinding a little bit, I think that it's a very strategic play to go with Malomo ahead of time. But specifically with the holidays, it's a way to engage your customers post-purchase. So email interaction is 4x, 5x if they're anticipating a product to be coming. So it's an opportunity to upsell and to continue to market to those customers in that very high touch point. I think, Malomo, I think would be my answer for the Shopify.
Cool. Yeah.
Builds, yeah.
Shout out to Ya and the Malomo team. We had them on our first podcast, and yeah, really excited about that. They're kind of bubbling up. We had a question from the audience about what is Recart. Ryan, do you just want to give the quick 1-minute overview on what the service is?
Sorry, we cut out for a second. Can you say that again?
Yeah. Do you want to just give the quick overview? We have a question on what Recart is, like what the app does. Do you mind just
Sure.
giving the quick 1-minute overview of it?
Yeah, no problem. So essentially, Recart is a way to automatically deploy Facebook Messenger, the chat plugin, to your website. So, you could just deploy the chat plugin yourself, but you'd have to code it, do a bunch of things. With this, you don't. You just connect Facebook, one click, boom, it's on your website. The beauty of Recart is that you can create essentially bots that automatically answer questions. And you can have it set up in a way that you can also automatically have a flow of sponsored messages. So if someone leaves your site, let's say, and abandons cart, you can send them a follow-up message. And the open rate is 90+% on Facebook Messenger, which is insane. So the rate of people that you win back is extremely high, and the cost for the service is very low. I mean, I don't know what the starting plan costs, but we're in the top tier plan, and my ROI is literally hundreds of X, maybe over 1,000X. It's a pretty insane value proposition.
Very cool. Appreciate that. Okay.
Sure.
So Mike, jumping back into it, what app are you most excited about at Drip Drop?
It's tough to say the one that we're most excited about. We're seeing a ton of value from working with Just Uno. We have basically many of their services up and running. The pop-up that we're triggering for new and returning visitors has been performing great. We're connected from Just Uno to Postscript, and we're seeing a phenomenal return. On the SMS subscribers, we've got a dehydration quiz that we're using to further segment our customer base to understand what's important to them. On sort of the data analytics side, we love Daasity. We actually used it to dig into the lifetime value, shared some of those metrics with our growth agency, and sort of built out some of the models that allowed us to really spend against acquiring subscription customers. And of course, that feeds into our prospecting model as well. From there, actually, we built a few conversion rate optimization tests based on mobile and desktop visitors. There's a ton to do.
Very cool. Well, super excited about that, and glad that you're running a lot of new tests based off of that data. So Muriel, what are you all really excited about at Livelyroot?
Yeah, at Livelyroot this holiday, we're really excited about Gorgeous, which is a customer service tool. For us in plans, customer service is in overdrive all the time, and we expect it to be especially so during the holidays, with people asking questions, requesting shipping updates, etc. And Gorgeous really helps us keep organized. Every conversation we have with our customers, regardless of how they contact us, is kept in one place, and we use their macro and automated answers for our customers heavily, and they save us a ton of time.
Awesome. Yeah, they're great partners. We had them on an earlier webinar too. Love their service. So as we think about really not only just the conversion event, but also how to capture leads, just because so much traffic will be coming to the website during this time period, what are the best performing lead captures? Like Jenna, Steph, what are you seeing at Just Uno across all your brands?
Yeah, across all brands, I guess on the design side, I see gamifications working well. And a gamification, a common one is a spin to win. Another version is like a pick a prize. So something that is just more engaging, that you can think of as like an intro click, or just to get them to do another thing on the site, or maybe provide more information. So on the design side, if you can get a little playful with that, and if you think your customers will respond well to that, then definitely worth a test. On the side of like the content and strategy behind it, I would say I see a lot of people that offer like a PDF or a guide, something that is related to their product or maybe how to use it. That leads to more engagement, meaning we're either getting email out of that or we're getting SMS. And then combining email and SMS has worked really well. So if I'm running a test where I'm just capturing email versus capturing email and SMS, that's for me always performing better. And you're getting twice as much information for that one customer. And you can personalize by asking a name or maybe a birthday, sending them a gift.
Very cool. Yeah, we've heard SMS has really taken off this year, so really excited about that channel as well.
I like it.
Yeah. Scott, what are you seeing as really effective lead capture tactics?
Yeah, I mean, I think Steph covered a lot there. You know, Justino is fantastic. I think also Mariel talked about customer support and chat widgets. Ryan mentioned it as well. Octane AI is another one. You know, being able to capture those emails as part of customer service, I think is an excellent way. And then I also think that you know, it kind of depends on the business and applying something that fits the business. For an example, Something Navy is a merchant of ours. They have these really big product drops. Millions of merchandise get sold within the first 5 minutes. So we took advantage of that. We created an early access in order to become an insider, get early access. The customer would supply a phone number, an email, to get early access. And then, as you just mentioned, Jeremy, SMS is just is killer, and so it is really important for them. And then also, I mean, not necessarily lead capture, but another thing that converts really well is, I'd say reviews. You know, Yotpo, looks is another one. You know, talking about Ryan's company, Blendjet. You know, they're like what 4.98 stars, 5 stars, if you will, with 17,000 reviews. Like, that converts. And so really highlighting those things, I think is very important.
Yeah, definitely. UGC.
One
Ryan.
quick point just to add to what Scott said, that's really important for everybody to think about. And it seems like not true, but it is true. The average amount of time people spend on the product page is about 7 minutes on our website. And our current website, it's not good. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not proud of it, but I will be proud of the new site on October 26th. But hey, you know what? You got to get your MVP out there and you got to make it work. But the majority of time, people are spending looking at the reviews. That's what they're doing. They're not reading all the pretty copy. They're not looking at the pictures. They do that very quickly. They dig deep into those reviews, and that's how they make their purchasing decision. So whatever you can do to encourage your customers to leave reviews, definitely something to do. And if you do ever get a review that you don't like, talk to that customer and fix it. You know, all of our reviews are genuine. And, you know, to maintain that, it's very hard to maintain that very high rating, because what we do is if somebody's ever unhappy, we let them leave a bad review, but then we reach out and say, hey, what can we do to make this right? We want to turn your 1-star experience into a 5-star experience. And usually it's nothing to do with us. It's their carrier, it's some of their country, customs, whatever. But, you know, we go above and beyond and try to be Zappos in terms of customer service to just make people happy no matter what, even if we lose money on that customer.
Yeah, definitely. Really building that customer lifetime value in those few moments. So Muriel, what are you all excited about for Lively Root?
One thing that we love is similar to Recart. We like Octane, which is also a Facebook Messenger app, but it has a great quiz feature. So people with their plans are like, I don't know what plan to get, or I don't know what plan to get for someone else. So we help them identify that plan. And it's really cool because then you can keep them in a flow with your Messenger, etc. So that works really well for us. For lead capture. We also love Just Uno. A specific tactic that we love is basically connecting our paid media strategy to our pop-up strategy. So for instance, if for holiday, in our case, we're doing a free gift, we might say in our ad, like, free gift this holiday. And then when they come to the site, the pop-up will say, to get your free gift, enter your email, which we always have an X out, so you don't actually have to do it, but 9 out of 10 times people will put their information in there, which is really helpful for us. So I think also with the SMS, that 1-2 punch of asking for email for first and then saying, okay, we'll give you a discount if you also give SMS second, works extremely well for us.
Yeah, love that. It really just creates a continuity between your ad experience and then your on-site experience.
Exactly, yes.
So diving into that a little bit more, what do you typically find is the most effective? The immediate pop-up, the delayed pop-up, the exit intent pop-up? What have you found really works the best?
I am all in on immediate pop-ups. There's cases to use it in other ways, but in my past, I've actually tested this probably 20 or more times. And immediate pop-ups not only convert much better, usually by 100% better conversion for capturing an email or more, but they also usually convert better. It depends on the case, but a lot of people give like a small promotion or 10% off or something with their lead capture pop-ups for when people land on the site. And your customers want to see that right away. Otherwise, they're kind of looking for something. So we found that actually this immediate pop-up also helps people convert. I also have a theory that the pop-up that comes to you in the middle of your shopping experience is somewhat distracting and annoying. So if you can just close it right away, you're going to be happier than being in the middle of reading all those customer reviews and having a pop-up end up in your face.
Cool. So yeah, people are expecting it. So just give them what they want. Steph, what are you seeing across all the different deployments at Just Do Now?
Yeah, with those, I would say it's the same thing that I'm seeing. More immediate is best, and it kind of depends too on like how someone's homepage or how their pages are set up, depending on like what kind of content you want to put into the actual pop-up moving forward. I'm also a fan of the exit offers or just exit intent messages. In those cases, I really like to showcase a review, making sure they kind of know why this is maybe a highly bought product or maybe what they were missing, because yeah, a majority hopefully are looking at those reviews, but some people just aren't going to take that effort if they're not happy with the site experience. So this is another way to catch them with that kind of messaging, or just a quick offer that they can use to add to their cart.
I like that. I've never heard of the review and an exit intent pop up before, but it makes perfect sense. And you have that customer language in there too. It's cool. Scott, what are you seeing as super effective?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle between immediate and delayed. I think it depends on the logic of the delay. You know, you don't want to necessarily have it like a half a second later, a second later. That's kind of annoying. But at least you can kind of gauge that, okay, this customer is interested. So maybe we can, you know, show something that's like subscribe, get their email, get them a little bit more sticky. For the immediate, I'd say like maybe the con there is it might kind of seem like slow. You know, you get the site and then all of a sudden you get this pop up. So I guess I haven't really necessarily A/B tested those two tactics before. I think you're going to see higher conversions with those two versus exit, because I do see the customer having a little bit more engagement, you know, like right from the beginning. And, you know, obviously if they're exiting, they're exiting. And so I think the content of those two should be different. I think, you know, for your exit, it's, you know, not, hey, like I'm leaving, so I'm not going to say, hey, subscribe to our newsletter. I might instead do something like, you know, get 20% off before you go, or, you know, get a free, etc. You know, so it's a little bit more of a Hail Mary. So you're not going to necessarily see the highest conversions, but you're hopefully trying to bring people back from exiting. So two different sort of strategies, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Let's dive into this a little bit, because it seems like there's a little bit of two camps of like the immediate and the exit intent. So let me rephrase the question. Are there any great instances of pop-ups in between, like not those two experiences, in when a user's on the site in between? Steph, are you all seeing anything over at Just Do Know in that respect?
Yeah, in the in between, if we're not really focusing on lead capture, then we're maybe focusing on the actions. So if they've landed on a certain page, we're giving them a unique offer there or other products via the Commerce AI. So it's showing them what really could be bundled with that. So that could lead to an increase in average order value. And then along with showing pop-ups along the way, you can show, oh, I just had it in my head. You can show, I guess, like if they're on their cart as well. So a little bit past that, not necessarily asking for anything from them there, but giving them other options.
Yeah, really making it relevant to the stage in the buying journey that they're in. Ryan, are you all doing anything for the in-between at BlendJet?
We test all the time with pop-ups. I hate pop-ups. I think they're a terrible user experience. Unfortunately, the data says that they make us more money, so we use them. You know, user experience is really important to me. I think a few years ago, if you went to, let's say, Restoration Hardware's website, or you went to a brand that is, you know, a Louis Vuitton, you never would have seen a pop-up. Now you do. You know, money talks. And unfortunately, this is very effective. So even if maybe some of us don't like it, from a brand perspective, it is the right thing to do. Certainly capturing phone number for attentive in our case is very important. So the strategy generally is get the email first, get the phone number as a follow-up. And we do find that once people have read quite a bit of the product page, putting a pop-up a little bit later does tend to work for us. I think it's because they're a little bit more pot committed because they've read into the product, now they know about it, and maybe they're teetering on the edge, and now they're much more willing to convert if I just incentivize them with a little discount. We tend not to do more than 10% though. I find that if you do more than 10%, it makes your sales efforts for things like Black Friday a lot harder. You know, we're in electronics, so we don't have margin to be able to give a lot of discount. So we reserve those deep discounts for when we know we can get the average order value up. And we tend to make our discounts tiered for things like Black Friday. So buy one, you get 10%, buy two, you get 15, buy three, you get 20, something along those lines. And that helps a ton with getting the average order value up. And of course, you know, we only have to ship one time, which we ship for free. So, you know, that all makes the economics work out. But I do think something that was said a bit ago is really important, which is making your pop-ups relevant to the user, to what the ad says for the user, or making the pop-up relevant to the holiday. You know, nothing is more irritating to me than seeing a pop-up that is advertising 10% off when I know that it's Black Friday and, you know, I get 25% off if I buy three. So why are you telling me 10% to put in my email address? People just leave that stuff up and forget about it. So I would say my trick to prevent things like that from happening is I go to my own website every single day and pretend I'm a user. And I find so many things that way that I never would have noticed, and no one would have told me. No customer is going to reach out and be like, oh, I wanted to let you know that your pop-up doesn't match your offer. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, the good old incognito test. So Mike, what are you all testing as far as that user experience pop-ups at Drip Drop?
So similar with what's been said, we like to test everything. We don't really presume to have the answers beforehand, and we really look to customer data to help inform those decisions and crafting a strategy that works. Personalization is super important. So whether a customer or a visitor to the website is new or returning, and then we've even tested different call to actions with in-page pop-ups built in through Just Uno that have really allowed us to accelerate our segmentation efforts with the dehydration quiz. And then essentially what we do with that is the more interesting part. We're able to incorporate that data into our email strategy, into our paid media strategy, and just with retargeting, it makes things pretty efficient.
Yeah, definitely. I love that you use this segmentation specifically because I think everybody thinks about it offsite, but really that pop-up experience can get pretty interesting with segments on site. So Muriel, bring us home on pop-ups. What else we got?
In the past, basically if someone is showing the shopping behavior of looking at products but not adding to cart, so if they're on the site for a few minutes, they're browsing products and they're just, it looks like they want something, but they just don't know what it is. Triggering a pop-up, or, you know, we prefer like a slide out or something like that that doesn't feel the same, that offers a quiz to help them find something or offers to connect them to chat. Also helps in case they have a question or there is a blocker, we can give them immediate help to find what they need.
Definitely, yeah. If people are checking out your FAQ page or contact page, they probably will need some help getting in contact with your team. Okay, so I feel like we've been focusing on the conversion side of this a lot, and it's really important. But then on the other side, right, we want to focus on boosting that AOV, getting people to spend as much as possible. So Val, what are some ways that a merchant can go about raising their AOV during this key time period?
Yeah, one way to do that would be offering something like a gift with purchase over a certain threshold. I fall for that all the time, to add more to my cart to get free shipping, buy one more, shirt or pair of shoes, things like that. So you can take a look at if you have maybe some stock that's been sitting for a while, that's maybe past season, and not going to sell. It's all about perceived value. So it could be something that you have a lot of stock of. It could be something that is produced and is relatively inexpensive to produce, but the value appears there and is complementary to the products that you're selling. And then just put a threshold on that. Maybe your average AOV is $50. And so this free gift is with orders of $75 or more, or $100 or more, or something like that.
Yeah, people love to hit those goals and always get to that next level. So that's a great tactic. So Muriel, what are you all thinking about doing for AOV boosts for this time period?
Yeah, for us, it's all about gifting options. So something that we're implementing and we don't see in a lot of, it's not native to Shopify. So it was a big push for us, was allowing guests to ship something to more than one person per order. So they're able to basically add a bunch of stuff to their cart and ship it to different locations instead of going through the process a bunch of times. So we're looking forward to that. And we've also really been working on finding ways to make the gift recipient into a customer. So for instance, we allow gift messages with our most of our orders if someone wants. So we've started asking for the email of the person receiving the message so that they could opt in to get care instructions for their plants. So we've really been trying to figure out ways to make that actual gift recipient a lifelong customer as well.
Yeah, that's such a great tactic because I think everyone's so focused on the sale that they don't think that the gift purchaser isn't actually the customer that probably will come back. So we had a quick question. Are you all using an app or is that custom built?
It's custom, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's a lot that goes even like into the supply chain and the order processing as well.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of customization. So Mike, how are you all thinking about boosting AOV at Drip Drop?
A lot of it's got to do with the promotional strategy. We essentially have a different cadence for promoting different items and different SKUs and mixes throughout the year. We've essentially looked very closely at what that data suggests and really look to have the strongest offer right around the holidays.
Very cool. So Ryan, I know that you have got a lot coming out. What are you guys thinking on that AOV front?
We've launched a lot of, well, we haven't launched, but we're about to launch a lot of accessories to our products. So we've made really nice carrying cases, actually in the same factory where they make Lululemon apparel and bags. So sleeves for the product, carrying cases. We've got a cookbook coming out. A lot of things that we're going to be upselling to the customer. And I think during the holiday season, if you're going to give someone a portable blender, why not give them a recipe book along with it? We've also got our Jet Pack ready to blend smoothies, which are very popular, which are all real fruit. So we've got a lot of those in stock. And I think, really preparing the inventory, preparing just a massive amount of inventory. Every holiday, we've always hit a ceiling where we run out of our core products. And that is really difficult to predict the ceiling of, because you're talking about a, 7 to 8 figure investment in inventory in preparation, and you go through Q3 and things seem kind of slow and normal, and then all of a sudden Q4 hits and you're literally doing, in our case last holiday season, 1 BlendJet every 5 seconds being sold through blendjet.com. So it's kind of the calm before the storm right now, and to upsell those extra items we're using Rebuy. And Rebuy works really well. We just implemented it on the current site. We're going to be using it on the new site. It is pretty exceptional, the rate of people that are actually adding something. So right after you click add to cart, then we're saying, hey, do you want to add this into your order as well? And in a lot of cases, we're just saying, do you want to add another BlendJet? So you're already buying one. Do you want to add another one? It makes a great gift. And the take rate on that is huge. It's been about, in the last couple of days since we launched it, it's been about 10% extra revenue, which is pretty darn exceptional. And about 15% of people are actually adding something, which is crazy. I mean, that's such a high percentage. So, we knew we were going to implement this before the holidays. And I think, I had sort of high-end expectations and low-end, and I think it's certainly giving me data on the higher end of expectations. So I think, and I'll tell you, I was really worried that we were going to add that and it was going to hurt overall conversion rate. because now we're adding one more little thing between, the checkout. That is not the case. It doesn't seem to matter at all. It only seems to add value, not take away value.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's an incredible lift. We're big fans of the Rebuy team. John, their CEO, is actually going to be on our webinar in early November. So that's great to hear. Steph, what are some tactics that you all are seeing to help brands increase their AOV?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have hit on it. Definitely anything we can do to cross-sell or upsell or just bundle a product based on what they already have in cart, or even a return customer, what they've purchased before. And to go along with the gift idea, another way that I've seen clients do this is sending a QR code in that gift package that to the person that's receiving it, and that's leading them just directly to a gift page that's on their website that we've set up. So then we can offer specific messaging just right there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think we spend so much time thinking about the digital experiences. Sometimes it's the IRL experiences that are the best. So Scott, what experiences are y'all cooking up?
And I don't know if there's anything else to add here. No, I think Rebuy is a great solution. I think Adam from Ballsy was on this earlier too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if he'd spoken about it, but every opportunity here for cross sales where you add to cart and then you get displayed another option that goes with it, right? When you go into your cart, you can actually see another opportunity. Ryan talked about tiered pricing. Get an incentive, say 50% off your first 100, 20% off your next 150, 30% off 300, whatever it is. All of those are great opportunities there. I think maybe one that wasn't touched on is for subscription-based companies being able to do one-time purchases. So, for example, I get jetpacks monthly from BlendJet, and say a new flavor comes out, I can add that new flavor to my subscription for that one time to try it, and then I might later on change my subscription and bring that one in. But I think one-time add-ons with recharge for subscription-based companies is another one.
Yeah, definitely. Bumps AOV short-term, long-term value could really be boosting customer lifetime value. So what I want to dive into next, because I know we're getting kind of close to the end, is what metrics do you look at from previous holiday seasons, previous promotions? Like, what are you really paying attention to for this holiday season? So Mike, I know you mentioned earlier you've been doing some analysis. Can you shed some more light on that?
You bet. So we essentially start with our North Star. When we look at customer data and what's important, repeat purchase rate is one of those metrics that we pay a ton of attention to. We spend a lot of time internally talking about how do we increase it? How do we make sure that our customers are loyal? What can we do? How do we essentially improve that lifetime value? And the cohort analysis and site funnels on Daasity have been really great for helping us to understand the performance of cohorts over time. And that really helps to filter into different strategies, different tactics, and of course, the learning agenda and tests that we look to put on site over time.
Very cool. Okay, so Ryan, what are you all analyzing from last holiday to inform this holiday?
So we look at AOV, of course, the average order value. We want to see that go up dramatically year over year. I mean, our next gen product is $10 more than our previous gen, and it's 5 times more powerful. So I don't think people are going to have any problem spending a little more money to get something way better. We'll certainly be looking at that, but also wanting people to add additional items, accessories, like I mentioned. We're looking at the conversion rate, right? I want to see that conversion rate go up dramatically. I think moving from a Shopify powered site to a PWA, that's going to be a big difference between last holiday versus this holiday. I expect to see a 20 to 30% increase in conversion rate simply just by moving to a PWA, even if our site was pixel for pixel the same, which it's not, it's way better. So I think it'll be even better than that. The amount of time the user is spending on site and what the content they're consuming, that's really important. The rate at which people are attaching Jetpack, our ready to blend smoothie, to the BlendJet. I want to see much higher rate now because we've done a lot of optimization versus last year. We see about 10% of people buy Jetpack today. I think we can at least double that. So we're working on that, and we'll keep looking at that. We're certainly looking at our acquisition cost. No doubt our acquisition cost this year through certain channels is going to be more than it was last year. Keeping that important, and at the same time, having a higher AOV to offset the constant increase of an acquisition cost is key to making the economics of the business work. And one thing that nobody's mentioned that we look at that is our guiding light in terms of data is survey data. So post-purchase surveys on the checkout page, we typically see a 30 to 50% conversion rate on people doing the survey after they make a purchase. That's how we do attribution for maps, for television, for podcasts, for all these different channels that you can't track with last click attribution. And it is also how we ask customers, what color, BlendJet do you want next? Do you want royal blue? Well, I have royal blue now because customers have told me in surveys that they want royal blue. You want patterns? All right, we're going to give you patterns. So it informs sort of what customers want. And it also can tell you very quickly things like, why did you buy this product today? And then you can put an open-ended question and you find out that, people bought it because they're buying gifts for their friends and family. We learned during last holiday season that about 70% of our sales were gift purchases. That was crazy. And our messaging changed dramatically in real time because we knew the purpose of the purchase was much different than it is the other times of the year. We now use Inquire Labs, which is a Shopify app for that. Works really well. They're adding a lot of great features, got a great team over there. I think if you're not using surveys on your checkout, the first thing you should do when you get done watching this webcast is go figure out how to add it to your site, because that is just pure gold that you can get for free.
Okay, hot take. I like it. New place to capture more data. Mario, what are you all seeing? What are you all the most excited about? What are you really using to inform strategy this year?
Yeah, I think for us, we use a lot of customer data as well. We ask our influencers what they like. I don't know if I mentioned before, our brand is really new, so we were established July 1st, so we can't really look at last year, but we've tried as much as we can to talk to our own audience and ask them what they want and take surveys, polls, etc., actually via Instagram. That has worked extremely well for us to get insights about different decisions we're making for the holiday this year.
Very cool. Val, where have a lot of merchants seen a lot of value in analyzing year-over-year performance?
I think a lot of it has been covered with the lifetime value, like Mike talked about, really looking at that repeat or overall lifetime value of who you acquired last holiday. We all know holiday it's where you save your big sales for, it's where you're gonna probably give your deepest discounts, and you're spending a lot of marketing dollars. And so you may see that maybe there are some either sources of customers or particular promotions that you did that gave away a lot to get that customer, but they haven't actually come back and been a very loyal customer. So you probably want to shift to the offers that did bring in those customers that are coming back and are more loyal. And then, I think, looking at your, we kind of touched on it's all of this, the AOV, but also your conversion rate and traffic. So, it is more difficult to acquire people, and it does get more expensive. And so how are you offsetting that with your customers that you currently have in your list? How can they kind of help you? And so looking at how that changes year over year and what changes you can make to improve that a bit. So kind of what we talked about at the beginning of things like your site speed, and probably not everyone has the benefit of what Ryan has of when he's going to launch, this amazing new site that he built at the end of the month. But there are smaller things that you can do, like look at the weight of your images. I've worked with brands that turned out they thought having really high quality images was really the right thing for the user experience, but it really weighed down the load times. And so compressing those down made such a big difference, and you can see conversion rates go up there, and then you're getting more for every dollar you spend.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of segments that can be really leveraged during this time period. Okay, so now for the fun part, the one real hard question. So for all of the brands on the panel, what's the one thing you feel like you've learned from previous holiday seasons that you're gonna make sure that you get right this year? So Ryan, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat first.
Sure. It's a hard learned lesson, and it's a dangerous one because it can sink your ship. It can sink your ship if you go wrong in either direction. But you got to forecast appropriately, and you got to get capital in place, especially with the pandemic going on. You got to have a bank loan or a loan from Circle or whatever, PayPal or Cabbage or whatever service you want. Make sure you have enough inventory. Supply chains are not in good shape, especially if you rely on any international partners. Just having that inventory in place to satisfy the demand. You should expect that whatever happened last holiday season, this holiday season is going to be like that, but even better, because people can't go to the traditional brick and mortar retailers that they would for that shopping. And, I think we're going to see a dramatic shift. Last year, 12% of spend was online, 88% was in brick and mortar. We're probably going to see the biggest shift in history towards e-commerce, and be prepared with inventory. Air shipping is not an option like it used to be to try to play catch up, because it's 5 to 10 times more expensive than it traditionally was. So for us, lesson learned, try to have more than enough inventory to satisfy demand. And if you don't have enough inventory, start taking pre-orders. Have a plan B, as someone said here earlier, which in our case, our plan B is start taking pre-orders and just let customers know we'll ship by, January 5th or December 26th. And maybe that means if it's going to be given as a gift, we need to send a little gift certificate to the customer and say, here, you can give this to your receiver of the gift and say, a BlendJet is coming for you. Better than not getting the sale. And if the discount's big enough, they're probably willing to wait a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Pre-orders and inventory have been a running theme across our webinar, so it's definitely gonna be interesting this year. Mike, what's that one lesson? What's that thing that you're gonna make sure that you guys absolutely win this year at?
I think segmentation is one of the most important areas to focus on, especially during the holidays. We've paid particular attention to our Q4 2019 customers and made sure that we provide personalized offers and retargeting, that we have an effective email strategy in place, as well as looking at doing some texting for re-engagement as well.
Very cool. Okay, Muriel, bring us home. What is the one lesson that this year Livery is absolutely going to crush?
Is the same. We've been able to use Daasity this year to help us, which has been extremely valuable. I don't want to talk about inventory because I think everyone knows this problem. We also use gift cards as a solution to running out of stock during the holidays. It works really well for us as one of those solutions. But this year we paid really special attention to corporate gifting. We have never done anything in terms of outreach for corporate gifting, and this year we hired against it, which has made this a really successful and not as expensive holiday for us already. So that's been huge. I think any brand could get involved in corporate gifting or in conferences, etc., if they find the niche that's right for them. And we're really excited about our conversions already in this area. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool because all those B2B events didn't happen this year also. So they're going to be looking for something creative to do. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to open it up to Q&A. Our first question that has come in is, how do you test offers during the BFCM period? So I'm going to leave this one up to round robin. Does anybody want to take this one?
I'll just tell you how we do it. We often just use Google Optimize. It's free. It's very reliable. It's a great solution. Doesn't require coding ability. I think for split testing, I've tried a lot of the other solutions out there. I've not really seen that the other solutions that are more expensive are easier. They're certainly not easier to implement. They're not easier to operate. And I find the results to be reliable. I trust Google. I trust their servers to be reliable. The load time impact from having Google Optimize is rather minimal. Often it could be as simple as having a pop-up and then putting some JavaScript to block the pop-up, or CSS to display none on whatever the element name is of that pop-up. In some cases, your provider, like a Just might have an ability to append a certain string to the end of your URL to force a certain pop-up. So then you could essentially just rotate URLs with Google Optimize and then see, how much revenue does this pop-up make versus the other. I will say often people look at the data incorrectly. So, what really matters is revenue per visitor. That's what you got to look at when you're doing these split tests. So what if your AOV is higher, if your overall revenue per visitor is higher because your conversion rate is lower, even though your AOV is higher, doesn't matter. Just revenue per visitor. And also, if you have one person that comes along during a split test and buys a massive amount of stuff, that can really mess up your data. So make sure you have enough data and you're making decisions off things that are statistically relevant. If you don't have enough traffic, if you're not getting many thousands of visitors, per day during a week period of a split test, or 2 weeks ideally, then you might not have statistical significance. And you certainly don't want to do tests and then lead to conclusions that aren't actually correct.
Anybody else want to take this one?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, really good point, Ryan, on the statistical significance and just, making sure that you do have enough data to make a call on. Other things you can do that are, not so much on site, but you can test different offers by doing a split test in email to start out and just kind of see if it could even be just how you phrase something, $10 off versus 20% off or something. And you also can do a similar type of thing with your outbound ads as well. So maybe you have 2 different ad sets for Facebook, and you can do an actual split test with Facebook, or you could, test against different audiences to maybe see if a younger audience, responds differently than an older audience. So that's a few different, things to think about that you could test.
Yeah, I was just going to say, testing for this holiday, you want to be really careful. Like if you test something now, it needs to be for next year. Anything you learned in your testing, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, will not apply to the rest of the year. It's a really specific mindset. So you need to get your questions right in regards to what you're testing, and be really clear about what you're trying to learn before implementing the test. And I would agree with Ryan and with Val, like keep it really simple, use the simplest tools possible. Don't complicate it for yourself, because the last thing you want to do is be running a test and lose money from it over the holiday.
And on that note, make sure to isolate it down to, say, like a subset of your customers, right? You don't want to necessarily test something and fail and have 50% of your customers fail. So definitely isolate that test.
Yeah, one thing I'm just going to toss on is start the test before the holiday period or as early as possible, because I think what everybody's referencing as failure is your site crashing, which is like I'm sure everyone on the panel's worst nightmare for this time period. So our final question, and for everyone who asked about Malomo, we'll share some info out afterwards, is, I think this is probably, Mario, mostly for you, was resolving around how do you get those corporate gifting customers? Like, did you all do anything specific from a marketing or a sales perspective?
Yeah, so we actually hired a business development professional who knows what he's doing, but for people who can't do that, we just started with simple, before we decided to take that approach, we started simply with AdWords ads, just testing the waters. We did some LinkedIn advertising, and we got a great response. So that's how we started. But like I said, no one here in the plant industry or myself knows much about business development. So we hired the big guns and talked to someone who knows what they're doing.
Cool. Okay, so we really appreciate it. I know that we're at a little over time, so I just want to quickly do the wrap up so that my team doesn't yell at me. So for our next webinar, we have making an email and checking it twice on October 29th, and our final webinar, which is going to be final preparations for this big holiday season. I want to thank everyone on the panel. If you'd like to get in contact with any of them, here are their LinkedIn URLs. We really appreciate the time. We really appreciate you all joining and hope that you all have the best holiday season we've seen for the past 10 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.